Hey guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be talking about a series that I have recently completed and that I have really enjoyed, and that is the Drowning Empire series by author Andrea Stewart. This is a adult fantasy, and so in this video I'm going to keep everything spoiler free. So I'm only going to talk about the plot from book 1, and then I'm going to go into some of the world building, the magic system, some of the main characters, and then just give you guys my overall thoughts on what I really enjoyed in regards to the series. So the first book is The Bone Charred Daughter, which I rated 5 stars. Then we have The Bone Charred Emperor. I rated this one 4 stars. And then we have book 3, the finale, The Bone Charred War. I also rated this one 4 stars. So in that first book, The Bone Charred Daughter, we are following our main character, Lynn. And so when the story starts, we know that Lynn has lost all of her memories. So at some point, she just couldn't remember a thing. And so she has been working really, really hard to try to regain her memories with the help of her father, who is the emperor. And he told her that once she gets all of her memories back, then one day she will be able to become the next emperor. We then go on to learn that in this particular world, the emperor is using what they would consider bone shard magic. With the use of bone shard magic, he takes the bone shards from people, and he makes these constructs. And the constructs are basically different pieces of like animals and or humans that he puts together, and the shards that he used to make these constructs, he has commands written on the shards that only those constructs will be able to follow. So we learn that the emperor is into that sort of magic, and not everyone agrees with what he's doing because those bone shards affect the people that he takes them from. And so throughout the story, Lynn is starting to regain a lot of her memories, and she's realizing that what her father is doing is not right. And so not only are we following Lynn, but we also follow quite a few other characters, and we also get their POVs, and we learn that a lot of people are not happy with how this empire is run, and they all have their own ideas of how they think it should be run. And so we're following Lynn and all of these different characters as they are trying to basically get rid of this empire and deal with some other issues that they are all facing. So in regards to like the world building and the magic system, so this world is made up of a lot of different islands. In the middle, we have Imperial, which Lynn and her father are on. And so that is like the central point. And then surrounding that island, we have other little islands, and those islands are where some of our other characters live. So going back to like the bone shard magic, I did mention that people whose shards are being used for these constructs, they are affected by this. So in order to get these bone shards from people, the emperor has started what he called a tithing festival. So every year, people have to come out. It's usually a lot of children, and they come out and he takes bone shards from them. This causes people to get bone shard sickness, which makes them feel extremely weak when their shards are actually being used in a construct. And it can cause them to lose several years off of their life. So these people are dying essentially way early than they should. Also, we learn on different islands, this happens not just on one, but on all of the islands, these people can suffer from what they call bog cough. And so in order to help with people who develop this sort of cough, they have to use what they call caro nuts. I hope I'm saying that right, but it's some sort of nut. And I think they take like the oil of the nut and give it to the people, and it's supposed to help relieve their bog cough. But of course, there is some issues with that because not everybody wants to distribute them the same. Some people on different islands want to hoard them to help their people and not necessarily help people on other islands. So that is an issue. And then we have to deal with the mining of whetstone. And whetstone is being mined on all of the islands, more heavily on some islands than others. And they use that to help like power their boats. But throughout the course of the series, we learn there are some complications with mining the whetstone. So there's like a lot that's going on within this empire on different islands, but the central issue that we have is bone shard magic and whether it is something that should be used or not. So like I said, our main character here is Lynn. We get a lot of our POV from her because in that first book, we are following her as she is trying to get her memories back. And then at a certain point, she is trying to figure out how best she would run the empire. Then we follow this character by the name of Jovis. And Jovis is absolutely my favorite character. I believe he provides the comedic relief throughout this story. And in book 1, he is trying to find his long lost wife. She has been missing for years. And so he is traveling around trying to find out where his wife has gone. And while he is traveling, he ends up picking up this creature out of the water and he named it Mephi, and he does not know what kind of creature it is, and so Mephi just takes a liking to Jovis, and eventually Jovis realizes that this creature Mephi can actually talk. I really liked Jovis overall, and then I loved when him and Mephi got together. If you are someone that likes a good animal companion, this might be the series for you. Then we are following 2 other POVs. So we have Felu and Ranami, and they are primarily on the island of Nefalanu. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And so with them, Felu is trying to become the next governor. Her father is currently governor, and she is trying to come up with a plan for her to become governor because no one on that island is liking how he is running it, because on each island they have governors that run that particular island, and then we have the emperor who is running the entire empire. So she is trying to figure out the best way to become the governor while also kind of dealing with her wife Ranami, because Ranami wants their particular island to be run a certain way. She used to be an orphan, so she has a soft spot for orphans. There's a lot of kids that's like out on the street homeless, and she really wants Felu to focus on taking care of the poor and taking care of these orphans. But Felu is kind of thinking she needs to worry about other stuff. So they're kind of in this back and forth about what they should do on their island, which also relates to what's being done by the emperor. In this first book, we are also getting a POV from an unknown character. It's slowly revealed who this particular character is. They do play a bigger part over the course of the series. But in that first book, you really don't know who they are, what they have to do with anything. That was also one of the things that I liked about the first book because of this like unknown POV character that we got. So that's basically the gist of the story. So overall, what I really liked, if we're just talking about what I liked in book 1, I really liked the characters. I liked all of their motivations that we got, because everybody is thinking that there is a better way to run the empire. And of course, everybody wants the empire to be ran their way. So we're learning about the things that they want, which includes a lot of the political intrigue that I liked in this story, because there's a lot of plotting and planning that's going on. I really enjoyed the characters. I already said that I really enjoyed Jovis and Mephi. I enjoyed them in all of the books. We eventually get some other animal companions that I think, if that is your thing, you will really enjoy. And then there are other characters that are obviously included in the story, but the ones that I talked about, those are our main ones. But I did like the introduction of the other characters. And my big thing that I really liked was the magic system. At the time that I started this book, I had not really read a lot of books that dealt with bone shard magic. Since then, I've read another one, but I really like how it was done in this and how the bone shard magic works. But over the course of the series, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is some expansion to the bone shard magic. There is introductions of characters that hint at another sort of magic that is being used. And so we are just getting a bigger picture into this world and why these islands are there. And there was some queer representation when we have, you know, Felu and Ranami who are married. And I just really liked how in this world, that's not like a big deal. You love who you love, you like who you like. And so I really enjoyed that. When it comes to book 2 and 3, so book 2 takes place right after the events of book 1, and then book 3 takes place a couple of years after the events in book 2. When I got to book 3, I was really nervous because when I was hearing other people review it, they were saying that there was this huge time jump, and it was only literally like 2 years, I think. So it wasn't that big of a time jump to me. It wasn't a big enough time jump for it to like affect anything of the story, and it made sense to me to kind of have a bit of a time jump. But there is a time jump, so if you don't like those, be prepared for that in book 3. But I do think that the pacing was a little slower in both books 2 and 3. In books 2, we are really just getting a lot of information in regards to this other magic that is being introduced. And so then we're also just getting a lot of thoughts and plans from the characters. They're all in like different places, and they're just trying to figure out what they're doing with the empire. In books 3, all of those thoughts and plans are trying to come to fruition. Again, the pacing was a little bit slower. That's why I rated both of those 4 stars. But in book 3, all of those plans that they were making, everyone is trying to make sure that those plans play out. And so again, I just really liked seeing all of the different characters, and then the new characters that we were introduced to, see how they were going to try to put their plan in place, especially because everyone's plans are so different. Again, in book 3, I think it was a very satisfying conclusion. It did not end exactly the way that I would have wanted to, but I was satisfied nonetheless. I also wanted to mention that if you are into romance and you do like a little bit of romance in your fantasy books, this story has it. Eventually there is a romance that starts to develop between 2 of the characters, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I was rooting for them. And so overall, I just think that this story has a little bit of everything that you could want. An interesting magic system, interesting characters, political intrigue, queer representation, and a bit of a romance if that is your thing. So this is one of those series that I am so happy that I read. I picked this up because I saw so many people raving about book 1. I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about books 2 or 3, but I really enjoyed them. Now I will say, because we are following different characters and we have, those different POVs, if you try book 1 and none of these characters are interesting to you, or the magic is not interesting to you, I'm not sure the rest of the series is going to be for you. But if you have read book 1 and you really enjoy it, then I would encourage you to go ahead and pick up books 2 and 3, because I think this is a great series overall. So that is all that I have for you guys. If you guys have read this series, please let me know your thoughts down below. If you were unsure whether or not you want to continue with the series, I hope that I have convinced you to do so. But I will see you guys next time. Bye.